And our next speaker is Sammie Miller.
That's going to be exceptionally hard to follow. Hello, everyone. Okay, give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay. First, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I first sat down to write this the day after the presidential inauguration and struggled to think of what to say in the face of that reality. Should I have gone down the rabbit hole and made a zealous speech about how we will all fight a grueling and heartbreaking fight for the foreseeable future? Were those the emotions that I was going to choose to employ in the face of deep hatred and bigotry personally? And in that instance, I remembered something that will probably shape the course of my life for years to come. In a Cuban hostel 2 years prior to this moment, I had someone who has played an enormously influential role in not only my college career but my life hand me a little piece of paper. And on that piece of paper was my handwritten award for Big Feminist Heart. Quote, open to the world. And in that moment, I made a decision, not only about the course of my life, but about what I want to iterate to you, my beautiful peers and mentors, whom I owe so much of myself to today. I want to iterate the depth of my love, not only for this world that works so desperately to prove my efforts futile, but for all of you. My often ill-advised sense of wonder and hope for our future that my interactions with all of you have only more deeply solidified. The capacity for love and good that I have seen over and over that has pushed me to do better and be better. In the past 4 years, I have laughed until I cried, cried until I laughed, and experienced things that completely exceeded the dreams of a young girl from a rural town in New Jersey. College is supposed to be a time where you expand yourself. Take the things you thought you knew and drastically flip them on their heads. I, for one, know that has definitely occurred in my time here. I'm filled to the brim with something that is almost indescribable. Love, confusion, adoration, anger, passion, disappointment, the adjectives abound. The things you have shown me and taught me, the things that you have helped me realize were important. A capacity for recognition and a willingness to evolve because of that. I'm an intersectional feminist who is invested in a historical recognition of my place in our movement. History shows that feminism has been flawed and oppressive, and I will not forget those moments. The moments where my ancestors, white women with economic security and privileged access, denied people their rights in liberating adjudication because of a difference in ethnicity or gender identification or sexual orientation or class. That Black people are murdered in the streets at the hands of those designated to protect us. That femme immigrants and refugees face some of the highest levels of sexual violence because of the insecurities and opportunities for abuse built into our system of immigration. That trans people are subject to brutal violence and then denied access to basic health care based on assumed genitals. That 53% of white women voted for an administration that represents a real threat to so many of us. Showing that solidarity should not be assumed. I will not forget that, and I will not replicate it. Recognition of this, though, cannot diminish my vigor because of discomfort. What it requires is an excess of it. Because to me, being a feminist means being actively anti-racist and pro-immigrant rights and pro-economic equality and pro-queer identifications. It means repeatedly denouncing hatred and systems of oppression into the abyss if necessary until it sticks. Being a feminist means being open to the shades of our world and creating a system that protects and uplifts them all. So I implore us all to hold on to our empathy and our future endeavors with all we have. Hold it tightly against our chests as to not let it get away. Keep our hearts open to our dysfunctional and chaotic world, no matter how soul-shattering that task is. Do not lose the anger that rightfully pushes us forward, but do not let it work its way into the depths of our hearts and overtake those things that make us good. Reject toxicity. Be kind to one another. Rift and then heal in catharsis. Recognize our roles critically and work to make them as productive and powerful as they can be. A very wise man once told me, evil is often one moment that resonates for longer than we feel we can handle. Benevolence must be 1,000 moments of repetitive good that shape the trajectory of our future. Despite that. Sometimes those words drive me insane, especially as of late, but I refuse to let them go. Love is an active verb, something transformative and radical. We must love avidly and openly. We must look into ourselves for the strength to love and find the places where that love is the most transformative. Hold the world in our hands and give to it our passions, our gifts, our discontents and our criticisms, our respect and openness and willingness to evolve. Provide yourself with the love you need to endure. Live and listen with presence, and maybe those words that brought about so many paradigm shifts for us during our time here will drastically change the course of our history. Those moments of benevolence will build and shape the trajectory of our future for ourselves and our neighbors and our children and our future. Che Guevara once said, "At the risk of sounding ridiculous," which I probably did, let me say that the true revolutionary is guided by a great feeling of love. I'm not gonna lie, if I was gonna trust anyone with a revolution, it would be Che Guevara. So take that fire that this institution was meant to light and revolutionize this world. Revolutionize it with your love and your anger and the knowledge that those 1,000 moments don't happen solitarily. Thank you.